Okay guys, I finally finished and edited this video, so this part of the video is actually the last recorded. So I just want to explain you what this video is about before you decide will you watch it, as it's gonna be more than 1 hour. So there were a lot of things which I couldn't say in the previous videos, like a smaller things, smaller details which I forgot, or they weren't good for that video. So after making every week of videos, I realized that there's so many of these small tips and things which I wanted to say, but I didn't say it for some reason. And I figured out that the best way would be if I were just making music. In this video, this is going to be about just making music and then explaining all these small things. So let's say the small transition in between those two parts, or making some small details which are, in my opinion, the most important. So all of these small details, I believe they're the most important when it comes comparing the professional and amateur. So if you want to pass that border, and if you wanted to see what are all the small things, because in general, melody, single shot sounds, this one, we all do it almost the same. But what is that makes someone's music sounds better? It's all in those small details, small decisions, small things. And those things, it's not possible to make video about them, as they will always be connected to a certain situation or a certain problem or certain track. So this is why I thought that the best way to say as most as I can those things is that I take one of the tracks that is almost ready, that is in a last stages, and that I start from there and try to explain everything that I would do normally in my studio sessions. So this is video about that, and I'm gonna call this video like a webinar, as it's not a live stream, because it's pre-recorded and it's recorded in 2 or 3 sessions, I'm not sure anymore, and it's edited and there's a camera. What is the difference between this webinar and a live stream? Because it's usually in my live streams I didn't spoke, I wasn't talking anything, I wasn't explaining, so you were able to see the whole process but without any explanation, and I think it's a huge loss without the explanation. Like live stream with an explanation is this video, and it's probably gonna give you much more information than just the live stream. Okay, so let's jump with this one. So this will be one of those videos where I'm just gonna turn on the camera and continue working on some of the projects, as I do have some of the track that I want to record, as I'm already not fighting, but I have this kind of problem of how to continue with this track. So I thought it will be really nice to capture this moment and what are the decisions and what are my thoughts in how should I develop this track. First of all, I chose this track because it's already developed. It's, let's say, somewhere between almost the last stage of the track, as I already have the intro, I already have the main development, I already have, and the last video when I made this psychedelic sequence is exactly that track. And one of the previous videos, I cannot remember the title of that video, was in this project as well, where I said that I don't want to always have the same arrangement. When I want to break patterns, that we can apply some different things. And that was about that sequence which I explained how you can make in the previous video. And the previous video was about psychedelic sequence modulation using time plugins, something like this. Anyway, it was 2 days ago, but I cannot remember the title. So anyway, I just want to mention this, and this track, I wanted just to say what I wanted to do with this track. I wanted to make a track in a D. And why D? Because I was learning everything about the music by myself, and I don't have any proper education, and I'm now proud of that. For certain reasons, I believe that this way I develop my own ways of connecting the notes and choosing tonalities and everything. I developed this type of the feeling, so everything all the combinations that I was using during the whole my career, I was never doing by music theory or some other plugins. I was always trying to listen and to understand and to choose the harmony just by the feeling, not any knowledge behind it or any tools, etc., etc. So all music I done is completely done by the feeling. Nothing was done by some theory, etc. And I want to mention this, that I wanted to do this track in D because I realized previously I thought that, like several years ago, I thought that position of the note in a octave will dictate will the track will be dark. So I thought that lower the notes are, that the track will be darker and darker in a way. And I realized that this is not the case. For example, all my tracks in G are always, they have this darker vibe, while let's say all the tracks in D, which is much lower than G, are always somehow, I don't know, like more happy than all the tracks in G. So I realized that there's not necessarily mean that if the lower note is, that the track will be darker. And this is why I realized I did first track Another World 2 years ago. This was my first time I used the D note, because before that for me it was too low because I couldn't hear the lowest frequencies. But after I upgraded my studio to SM9, vocal SM9 speakers, I could work in those lower as well, and I understand much better what's going on in that frequent areas as well. Anyway, so I wanted to do this track, and in general, as you can see, there's a lot of kick and bass going over here. So in general, this is already 4 minutes and 23 seconds where I decided to stop. So the previous version was that I continued with the kick and the bass over here, but I decided to start bringing that also to the break or some other thing. I will see. Basically what I'm going to record in this video is I'm gonna try to solve the puzzle of this area over here in the track, like what and how I'm gonna bring it and what's gonna happen, as I believe this is the main part of a track in a way where, like, first part there's an intro, of course all of the parts are important, but where you're gonna make a point is actually after the break. This is like the peak of a track in almost every track. So I have the intro over here, then I have the kick and the bass going, and then of course like my continue with my standard style that I play a lot with the single shot sounds and creating a wonderful atmospheres. I mean, I say wonderful because I really enjoy that and I really like making, and I spent the most of the time while I was making music, I was spending in these single shot sounds and creating the atmospheres by using them. And I will put a huge attention on this part in one of my next courses, because this is my specialty. But in general, the new course that I planned was supposed to be only about the single shots or the atmospheres about in the track, and then when I start writing, I just made it like much bigger than I wanted it to be. And this is all because by making those videos I'm getting much better picture of what you understand and what you don't understand, and I'm putting all of these questions inside and I want to go to detailing explain. Anyway, so I'm gonna play the track. It might happen that it's gonna start to be buggy because this project is still not, I still didn't start bouncing, so you will see a lot of files in a MIDI still. But this one I am going to disable, sorry for breaking, but I want to disable this one as I already bounced it in audio, but I undisable it just because of the previous video. Woo! Sorry. For some reason, just reset it. Okay. I'm sorry, but there was an error in this, not an error, but a mistake, because the previous video about psychedelic sequence and using time modulation, what I did, actually I turned on again all of these files just to show you what I did, but this file that it's rendered, I decided to keep it without it, and also the OTT. So let's continue with the previous version. And yeah, I did say that next video is gonna be I Wish, so I'm gonna use the opportunity in this one because this is a small trick. So who know the track The I Wish knows that there's this voice like that, it's like singings, and then in some moment there's a freeze of like it's catch one letter. So what they were doing, because there's actually a tutorial about that. So let's say, oh my god, sorry. Yeah, so why the lows are so loud now? But I really don't like the gain stage of this, so I'm gonna outgain to reduce it. I have a video about gain staging, but just shortly, I like that the signal, the peaks, the level, which I can see on the levels around here, are always close to my fader, this middle point of the fader. So I usually try to make it always that it's hit out there, and this is way I can mix the most precise as possible, and I feel the most comfortable when I have the signal that is in the same level as my fader. I just like to do it. Before you decide to write comment about gain staging, everything, this please check that video before you make any statement, because I cannot explain everything in every video. It's just gonna be forever. I could just sit here for forever. I was first afraid that when I started YouTube channel that I will stay without the things, and now I realize that I can talk forever, that actually audio is so complicated. And I thought that in the beginning that the audio is one of the levels and the next level is like video production, because I thought that like there's a timeline and there's also visual, and this is the another dimension that you get to video. But I was wrong, because when I started making videos I understood that any way we do, the video is gonna be 2D. It's gonna end up on the screen, and there's gonna be just the colors, and there's gonna be just X and Y. There's not gonna be anything else. While why the audio is more complicated than all other things is because to produce the or to hear, to experience the results of audio, we need a space as well. And the space, this room, the party, the festival, it doesn't matter. It's gonna have a huge importance to how we're gonna experience that. So video is also, because there's an audio in the videos as well, but in general I think that making the audio is the hardest, and I really was shocked how much time I needed, because I was really super devoted to learn everything about audio. And as everything else, you need at least 5 years to become an expert. But I didn't, I just scratched the surface in 5 years of working with audio. And I realized I spent 18 years and that I have still so much to learn. I mean, I am after 18 years, I am at the point where I don't think there's anything that we can talk about that I don't know some decent level about it. I don't say that I know everything, and that would be so arrogant and stupid to say. But anyway, so I wish the main thing is like there was a vocal going, and then when is the last voice or the last letter of that word, they were capturing it. Like you can check the track and then you can understand. So now they made the plugin that does that as well. So I've set it on the group, and it needs MIDI. So, or the length of that capture that this plugin is gonna take, and to repeat it in the circles, it's gonna depend of which keynote. So what I was doing here, I was just playing randomly on the MIDI over here, and you can see that the length of the notes are gonna be captured. Okay, I'm gonna try to make one longer note so you can just understand what it's doing. Yeah, exactly. So it's making this freeze. Actually, this sounds pretty nice now. So yeah, this was the idea of this video. It's not prepared, it's not anything. It's type of live stream, but I'm not gonna live stream it because I want to make it a bit better. Maybe I'm gonna chop something if I have some problem and I'm just gonna throw it out, or if I go too far in some topics, and that way. But it's gonna be released as a live stream. But in general, I'm not live streaming it, I'm recording it during the day. Today is, just to be clear what day it is. It is 19 February and it is 12:58 p.m. Belgrade, Serbia time. Anyway, so let's go. Woo! Whoa, I love this. So what I'm going to do, I'm gonna take this pattern of the MIDI and I'm gonna replace it. I don't know why it's, yeah. Yeah, so I want to bring this output a little bit up. Now. And this is exactly why I'm doing this, because in the lowest levels, the same amount of space on the lower levels, -11, -10, it's a 10 decibels, while on this part, this much space. So the lower we go, as you can see, 30 and 40 is 10 decibels of difference down here, while this much space is like 3 or 4 times is only 5 decibels. So this is why I want to set it to be on the same horizontal line, on the same level where my fader is, because I want to mix it in this area over here. I don't want to mix it down somewhere down, because its resolution is just much better. So this is why it's so hard to exactly match it. Okay, -10. Okay, -9. -9. I'm gonna leave it. -9. Yeah. 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 So I wish I think that I explained, but what I did is that I pitch set to the lowest point and format to the opposite side, and that way I think I'm getting some really nice results. But anyway. Sorry, I need to rewind this because this is a new update. For you who are following all the videos, you probably remember that I said that instead of making the break over here as I'm already... So this is the intro and this is already... So this is around 8 bars are around 13 seconds. So let's say that 4 times 8 bars I usually calculate as 1 minute. So 1 minute, 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes, but it was like 2.5, it was like 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 4.5, so it was like constant with the kick in the bass. So in this area where it's like 1, 2, after 2.5 minutes, something needs to change drastically. 2.5 minutes, it's okay. I mean, the game changed and the type of music that I make today changed. Like, if I bring the BPM down to 135, 136, then this repeating moment will just make the kick and bass to be background surface, and then I could go forever just like playing with the single shot sound. It's a different. While now in 140 I'm trying to bring it back, but the problem is that I cannot bring my music back to 136, is that I don't have anything to hear in this range, the new music that's gonna inspire me. This is an important thing. And why, one of the reasons why all the music sounds the same is because something new that shows up, it starts inspiring people and people are doing it. Not all the artists or producers are necessarily trying to copy. I also figured out that some of the melodies I copied, but I realized after I released those tracks, as for, let's say, I like some track, and I did like some track in 2004, and I liked it so much, and I heard it so many times, so it just memorized somewhere, it's written back in my head. And it happened that after 10-15 years I recreated that melody, not exactly the same, and then I realized like I copied it. I didn't. I rewrote it, I felt it, I don't know, like it's really hard that people who are making music to understand what is their idea, what they heard before, because we have 12 notes, and when we start going off those 12 notes, when you go in the scale of 8 notes, then we understand that we don't have too much choices, and that on the end we're gonna do for sure that something already did. It was also like I heard exactly the same riff Cosma non-stop, like I heard that in Nina Simone, like playing the piano was doing I'm not sure that Cosma, I'm actually sure that he didn't copy it, but maybe he heard it and stuck somewhere when he was a child, or where while his parents were listening to some music. It doesn't matter. Anyway, because I hear a lot lately, like, oh no, he's copying that. There are producers that are copying by purpose, but there are producers that are copying accidentally anyway. What? Okay. So, yeah. This was what I did previously, and it's a mistake because I didn't want to do that. I wanted to keep it on freeze, and I'm gonna show you now how you can, the easiest way how you can create the longest tail is with Timeless. Timeless is one of my favorite plugins. So I'm gonna set wet to 0. Okay, I didn't do it correctly. Feedback is gonna be much less. Okay, so oh, I'm sorry, I made a mistake over here. It's gonna be 50-50, okay? Okay, one more time. Now I'm gonna freeze it. It's not a good timing, but I'm gonna move it manually, something like this. Yeah, it's okay. Actually, I think it's better sounding if it's a bit later. So let's say 3/16, yeah, like after 3/16, but then I need to use a little bit longer feedback. Yeah. Okay, one more time. I'm gonna delete this one. No, not the band pass is too much, but yeah, low pass. I'm gonna make the low pass. I don't know why it doesn't create a... Nah. Ah, no, it's a wrong position. Anyway, I can just move it later because I wanted it to stay in when the kick and bass are stopping. Yeah, here. So it's okay. I'm just gonna move everything I did. Where is it? Where is it? Ah, there it is. So, yeah, this, and this. And this, right? I'm gonna move it to like here. Is it? Yeah. So. That's a bit longer, but anyway, I mean a bit. Okay, so something like this. And I think this one, is this the frequency? Yeah. Okay, something like this. So just to create some additional movement. Okay, so let me. No. Okay, and maybe to finish it in this area over here. Yeah, like going down. Okay, so I'm gonna try to. So it doesn't have much of the sense listening it like this. And this is also a nice piece of advice, is that if you go in details like this, like I was spending a lot of time and concentration on how to write the automation, when it's gonna end, when everything is gonna happen. And this is taking the whole focus out of the overall picture. And on the end, our goal, like if we set our goal to be always there, and to be aware of it. So our goal is to make a good track, and to make a good track we need to hear the whole track as a one piece. So this what we do, like all the small details, most people won't give the same value to those small pieces as you are. I mean, they are all pieces are important in a way to create overall picture, but to make a decision, final one, I always, what I like to do, I want to rewind a track, and I want to rewind it just enough in order that I forget on what I was doing in that moment. As by rewinding that much, if I forgot what I was making, it's gonna reset and I'm gonna hear much better like how it's gonna sit in a track. So I want my attention to get out of that part that I spent already so much time working at, just because I want to have much better picture when it shows up again. I want then in that moment to pay attention to it. Well, I kinda like it. I'm also thinking of maybe deleting it, because I know I spent so much time on it, but as I said already, sometimes we need to pay these prices, and this, I believe, is one of the main difference between a pro producer and the amateur ones, is the one that is that spends a lot of time, and then when he have the overall picture, that if he decide not to go. So paying the price of a lot of time spending on something that you won't use later on. And I know that I already spent so much time about this tale of the delay, but anyway, I wanted to record it so you can see it as well. But it happens that on my studio sessions as well, that I spend so much time on something like this and that I just throw it away. This is the price you should be to pay, as well, as this is something that's going to bring you on the surface, and this is something that I learned with working with some of really professional people on the scene as well. Everything else in the track I like so far, everything how it's developing, and this chord progression, I'm in love with it. So yeah, we didn't hear this part of our track as well, and honestly, this I did in one of my previous sessions and I completely forgot. So you and me gonna have the same feeling right now to hear what I did over here. I know that this one is this distorted one, but then I did something with the melody, like What? Okay, I mean, it's pretty raw, right? But what I didn't like this sweep coming in and then nothing happening after it. And I stopped using like a super big risers. I kinda do not like them that much, but it's from a psychological, because they can be so cheap. Like if you are using a lot of riser, be careful. If they become your main thing, then your music is just not having enough of art. It's more of a, how to say, it's a more of a color and the thing. As this thing with now that's super popular with the risers and everything, it's gonna go super fast. And if you connect your music, if you build your style connected with those risers, I'm not sure you will have much of things to say after this pass, and it will, trust me. I am long enough on the scene to watch all these popular waves coming, as one was the offbeat. I mean, offbeat is kind of still popular, but not even close as it was. After that, this tribal style came after, like with Vinny Vici, and this style is going down as well. Something new is gonna happen, and all of this popular music is in a waves. And I saw so many artists like switching from one type to another and never gaining success. And this is because everything new, popular that comes, the first few and the best few artists that make that style, they're gonna succeed and they're gonna stay long after that. And this is like, I can say from offbeat era, this is Neelix and several other artists, while from this tribal style it is Vinny Vici and the others, and just a few others, and everyone else are just gonna need to switch to the next wave that's gonna happen, and the next wave. And I saw so many artists are struggling just because they are passing, and my advice is that you try to do what you feel the most, what is that you like the most. The main reason I mentioned this is because of this riser. So now I have a problem even to putting a riser, even if it's gonna do a really good thing. I have a problem because they are used so much. And the cheapest ones, the one on the pitch, I'm gonna show you like how fast I can make this serum. And this is why I really don't like using it, because it's that easy to create. So I'm gonna take LFO, connect it to where is the cost pitch, right? Then I'm gonna set it to 32 bars. I'm gonna set the So I mean, it's like really easy. If I just to make it shorter, just to. All right, let's you go to. Oh, let me just make it trigger. I mean, it's just the super simple example, like how fast you can create something. For me, all the risers that are connected with the noises without the pitch itself, it's I'm sorry to say, but it's disgusting. It's so cheap. Like, I feel that most of artists, when they don't know what to do, they bring it on like on uplifters, and then the drum fills that you can find on Splice, on Loop Cloud today, and you just set it to triple or change the groove. There's no story behind it. Anyway, I'm sorry if I were a bit more rough. Generally, This I explained why I don't use that much of the risers anymore, even if I feel that in this point, actually this one over here, I should use it. And I probably will, but I will probably try to do like with the drum fills, which I feel much better because they are just impulses that are rising, but without pitching and bringing everything to filters, just to bring the tension a bit on. Now, let's have a conclusion what I did good, what I did bad in this part. So the transition over here is pretty nice. I mean, on this position. And in that video I explained that this small break over here, it's really important, and also everything that's rising before it goes down, before it changes the level of a track, before of this highs goes to kick and bass and this sequence, it's nice to have like announcement, like to start going in that direction. Otherwise, just switching like completely, in some cases it can be good, but in most cases it's not gonna sound so good. It's gonna sound like really contrastish, like not so good. So this was the case. So this was the point of that video. Just small announcement before you go in that direction, like a small amount of time. Like this is gonna help you to have a better transition of those two levels, and then everything's fine. As usually, in 99% of the tracks that we can hear of this style is in this area starting the break. So I wanted to avoid it. I want to break the patterns. I want to have the moment of surprise in my track. And what I did over here, I replaced the break with the kick and bass going, and then like I started building up again, but then I made another surprise, like instead of going up again, I made it to the break. I mean, it can be done a bit better, and it probably will, but in general, I'm just trying to make those really important parts of a track, like this one, where there are the switches, just to mark them. And then in the last stage of a track, I'm gonna pay attention on the details. So I'm gonna pay attention on how well I do this transition, because now when I hear it, I'm not so happy. Maybe even without this bass line, yeah. Even this single shot that stays. So what I did in this single shot sound is I have it like, then I duplicated it and I used this instead of the riser, as you can see over here, just in a reverse. So in this part it goes. This is much better, I think, yeah. Just the pads are starting too fast. Still, I need something in this area to connect this part with this part. So I like how the energy stopped, how the break and everything, the energy level here, but I need something to solve this problem. Is now those two parts are disconnected, like everything stops and then the pads. It's like I rewind the track on the beginning. So I want to avoid that. I will probably need something to have to be heard in this part of a track, actually in this part of a track, and the second one on the break. So some bridge to connect those two parts, and then the pads to come beneath it. But I will see, maybe I have something already over here. maybe somehow to use this was, yeah, maybe. Oh no, I thought it's Fab 3 Volcano. Okay, Echo Boy. Okay, let's try with Echo Boy. Yeah, something like this. So let me just see if it's gonna work. Yeah, it will. Just the pad maybe even slower. So these details are the most important. And again, the main thing is listening, is the feeling. The more you practice this, the better your music will be. So I'm gonna mention it once again. I learned this from Liquid Soul because while we work on our track together, he's so precise about all these transitions, about automations, when and what are the slopes and what time. And this you can make a good decision only by listening it that much. So I have now this melody that tan 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 tan, it's gonna stay, and then when we will start feeling the pads, it's gonna be really important, as I don't want them to happen too fast, because what's the purpose of the break? So the main purpose of the break is to bring the energy down in a way that we can create the contrast, that listeners can, we already had a little bit of tension in this area and then bringing down. So this is why I'm gonna create a longer break, because I kept it much longer, which means that the last part of the track is gonna be probably smaller, which is super fine. Anyway, I mean, more than 32 bars, it's all good, and then outro just for mixing, etc. But anyway, so when this is gonna happen, which means that this starting point and this curve point over here are gonna be super important. Now as well, because I have this melody in 2 layers, it will be nice if I do the same with another one. Yeah, so something like this. Just I'm gonna use the same one. I think here is 1818, yeah, and here is 18 dot, yeah. So because the faster delay sounds better on this part. Yeah, the one melody below needs to close much faster. Now it's too fast. This might be the most painful while you are designing the tails, because if you make the longer tails, you need to rewind and you need to listen the whole part, because the delay is gonna be triggered on this last part where I made the automation of the feedback. So we need to play from this area, so in order that we can hear how long it's gonna stay. Yeah. No. No, it's too fast now. But what is closing it? This is what I want to figure out. It's this frequency? No. This is mix, alright? Mix, cool. Frequency, filter cut, Yeah, this is a problem now. Yeah, I think faster. It should be closing faster. Yeah. Okay, something like this. Let's try it. Yeah, that's smooth. That's smooth enough. I know this is too long, so this was the main idea about all this video, about this webinar or live stream or whatever it's gonna call, vlog or whatsoever. So to see how much time do I spend as well in deciding all the small things, so how much of importance it has. So now after I spent so much time, it doesn't have any more sense to listen if I don't bring it back at least to this one. Yeah, this one should stay on the end. It's good that they didn't delete it. Or maybe like... maybe even the bass line. So what I was looking here, as I said, something that gonna connect the first part, the tail, and then to go smoothly, and then beneath it something to come up, you know. And that way, the more polite we are, the more gentle we are in this part, the more relaxed our listener will be. So this is why it's so important to be smooth and careful, because if something jumps in or some single shot, it's gonna kind of spoil that hypnosis moment. So this is what I'm trying to do over here. Okay, this video is already like super long, and it's probably nobody gonna see till the end because it's so much, but I needed to do it. I really wanted to address many of those things which I said, and I really hope that you liked it. And yeah, we're gonna see what we're gonna do next. See you soon with another video. Bye.